Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling a concept that is going to completely shatter a very common and honestly highly misleading myth. You know, when most people hear the word finance, they instantly picture this chaotic Wall Street casino, right? We imagine the shouting traders, the frantic ticker tapes, and this totally disconnected world of suits just shuffling money around for the fun of it. But as we're going to see today by looking straight at the architectural blueprint of our economy, that really couldn't be further from the truth. We're going to completely strip away the noise and look at how capital and enterprise actually build the real economy, the one that you and I interact with every single day.
So let me pose a question to you. What if the stock market, and really the broader financial system, isn't a casino at all? What if, instead, it acts as the literal heartbeat of the modern world? I mean, it's a pretty profound shift in perspective. If we stop looking at finance as some giant slot machine and start looking at it as a biological necessity for human progress, well, absolutely everything changes.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really wrap our heads around this, think of the economy as a living, breathing system. You've got households providing labor and savings, and firms creating products and services. But here's the thing. These entities can't just survive in isolation. Finance isn't some side hustle separate from the economy. Finance is the circulatory system of the economy. Just like a heart continuously pumps blood to deliver oxygen exactly where it's needed most, financial institutions and capital markets are continuously circulating money, savings, and capital. They pump value from where it's just sitting idle to where it is desperately needed to sustain life, or, in this case, to sustain economic growth and innovation. To see why this circulatory system is so unbelievably vital, picture this fundamental economic disconnect. On one side, you have a household. They've got savings, but zero business ideas. Their money is just sitting there totally idle. On the other side, you've got an entrepreneur with a world-changing idea, but absolutely no money to actually build it. Without a mechanism to connect these two realities, the money just stays hidden under a mattress. And that brilliant idea? It simply never happens. The potential is completely lost.
And that is precisely why finance exists. Finance is the essential puzzle piece that steps in and solves this problem by directly connecting the money with the opportunity. When this connection happens, it's kind of like magic. Idle savings are transformed into active investments. Those investments grow into thriving businesses, and those businesses go on to create the jobs, the prosperity, and the goods we all rely on. Without it, savings stagnate, ideas die on the vine, and economic growth essentially grinds to a halt. In short, finance is the bridge. Now, if we pop the hood and look closer at the mechanics of this engine, it actually splits into two distinct but completely complementary worlds. First up, enterprise finance. This is the world focused on the physical creation of value. It asks, how do businesses create value, and focuses entirely on the actions of making actual products, like the iPhone in your pocket, services, profits, and cash flows. On the flip side, you have capital markets. This world asks, how do they obtain the money needed to create that value? Its whole job is providing the critical funding through things like issuing shares and bonds.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these two domains are really just two sides of the exact same coin. Think of enterprise finance as the engine of a factory, grinding away to innovate and produce. But that factory shuts down instantly without capital markets, which is the intricate network channeling the fuel, the funding, right into the factory's engine. They are entirely dependent on one another. You simply cannot build the physical infrastructure of the real economy without the invisible network of the financial economy. So, how does this invisible network actually make its decisions? I mean, it's not just a guessing game. At its core, it is applied mathematics used to make economic decisions under uncertainty. Basically, finance takes rigorous math, we're talking probabilities, statistics, optimization, and applies it directly to money. This framework is what allows us to answer incredibly complex questions, like, what is an investment actually worth? Exactly how risky is it? How should we allocate capital among competing ideas? By using math to forecast returns and evaluate risk, finance ensures that money isn't just thrown around blindly, but is strategically deployed. Through all this mathematical rigor, the system provides four absolutely indispensable services to power our economy. First is capital allocation, literally sending money to the best, most promising projects. Second is risk sharing, which allows investors to spread out business risks so that a single failure doesn't ruin anyone. Third is liquidity, ensuring investors can quickly buy and sell assets, which gives them the confidence to invest in the first place. And fourth, information, because prices in a market actually communicate vital, real-time information about what an asset is really worth. Together, these four services act like a giant societal compass, helping all of us decide exactly where critical resources should flow.
All right, let's step away from the theory for a second and look at a real-world titan. Think about Apple. Today, it is one of the most valuable companies on the planet. They produce devices that have fundamentally changed how humanity communicates. But here is the absolutely crucial question. Could Apple have become the Apple we know today without access to massive amounts of capital?
The answer is almost definitively probably not. True innovation requires serious funding. I mean, think about what a company like Apple actually needs to exist. They need an army of world-class engineers. They need global manufacturing factories operating at a massive scale. They need constant, relentless research and development. They need incredibly complex distribution supply chains. A couple of brilliant people in a garage might have the initial spark, but scaling that idea to change the world, that requires a mountain of finance. Finance is the bridge that turns those early, scrappy ideas into massive global impact. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is just how stark the alternative is. Imagine a world without finance. It's a world where that bridge simply does not exist. Without finance, startups don't receive funding, which means revolutionary ideas literally die early. Savings sit idle in vaults. Because businesses can't expand, economic growth slows to a crawl. In this parallel universe, there is no Amazon to deliver goods to your door. There's no Tesla pushing the boundaries of electric vehicles. There's no SpaceX reaching for the stars. And there's for sure no Apple. A world without finance is a world where humanity's greatest technological leaps simply remain sketches on a drawing board.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the macro picture. It creates this amazing, self-reinforcing cycle of growth. It all begins with savings. Through the financial system, those savings are channeled into productive investments, which enable businesses to start, innovate, and grow. Growing businesses create jobs. More jobs mean people earn income, instantly improving their standard of living. And with more income, people can generate more savings, restarting the whole incredible cycle all over again, but this time at a much higher level of prosperity. The ultimate takeaway here is that finance is the continuous engine turning idle savings into widespread prosperity. Each step of that cycle directly fuels the next one. And honestly, the data backs this up entirely. Countries with highly efficient financial systems grow faster. They attract more investment, drive more productivity, and they successfully raise the day-to-day living standards of their citizens. So, the next time someone tries to tell you that finance is just a game of numbers on a screen, remember the blueprint we explored today. Without finance, potential never becomes reality. Finance turns possibility into progress. It is the circulatory system that literally pumps life into human ambition. Which leaves us with one final pretty exciting question to ponder. As you go about your day-to-day, what world-changing innovation, what cure, what crazy new technology is currently sitting in a garage somewhere, just waiting for the bridge of finance to turn it into our new reality? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.